Without hurting people's feelings. People get sensitive. KD says the other day his name should be discussed in the greatest of all time. I think the greatest players are.
LeBron James sparked controversy after discussing how the modern NBA has evolved, framing it as a faster, more physically demanding game. While his comments sounded reasonable on the surface, many former players interpreted them differently. To legends from earlier eras, including Shaquille O'Neal, it felt like an indirect attempt to redefine toughness and diminish what previous generations endured. This tension reportedly came to a head after a Lakers-Knicks game, where Shaq confronted LeBron in the tunnel. Witnesses described it as a serious face-to-face moment, not a casual exchange, highlighting how deeply the issue had resonated with him. At the center of the debate is a clash between eras. Players from the past, such as Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and others, built their reputations in a league defined by physicality, minimal protection from referees, and a culture that demanded playing through pain. For them, LeBron's comments about injuries and the modern pace sounded like a reframing of difficulty, one that overlooked the intense physical battles and mental pressure they faced. Shaq, having played through that environment, views this as a lack of respect for the struggles that shaped the league's legacy. Beyond physicality, Shaq's argument goes deeper into what he believes defines true greatness. He emphasizes psychological dominance, the ability to instill fear in opponents. According to him, players like Jordan and Bryant didn't just win games, they controlled the mental space of their competition, making opponents feel defeated before the game even began. In Shaq's view, while LeBron James has unmatched longevity and statistical excellence, he never created that same level of fear or intimidation. This difference becomes even more pronounced when comparing career narratives. Jordan's perfect 6-0 finals record is often contrasted with LeBron's multiple finals losses, despite his greater number of appearances. Supporters of LeBron argue that his longevity, adaptability, and sustained elite performance across decades are unprecedented. However, critics like Shaq counter that longevity is not the same as peak dominance, and that the ability to completely control an era carries more weight than accumulating records over time. The discussion also reflects a broader cultural shift within the NBA. Today's league places a stronger emphasis on branding, media presence, and player empowerment. LeBron's use of jersey patches to highlight personal achievements has become a symbol of this change. While some see it as a celebration of historic milestones, others, especially from the older generation, view it as unnecessary self-promotion, contrasting sharply with how past legends carried themselves. Ultimately, this situation is about more than one podcast comment or one confrontation. It represents a deeper divide over generations over what defines greatness in basketball. On one side is the old-school mindset that values dominance, fear, and physical resilience. On the other is a modern perspective that emphasizes versatility, longevity, and evolution of the game. The reported tunnel moment between Shaq and LeBron didn't just amplify the debate, it turned it into something personal, ensuring that this conversation will continue to shape how both eras are remembered.
A GOAT kind of status because I don't want to disrespect his talent because KD we've never seen that before, right? As a fan of basketball, to me, I've never seen a more skilled guy at that height. He could do everything that a guard can do. He shoots better than anybody ever, damn near except for Steph. And that part I think is GOAT status. But I'm saying, like, when y'all start doing championships and this, it gets weird.
The tension between Shaquille O'Neal and Kevin Durant has come to represent more than just a personal feud. It reflects a deeper clash of basketball philosophies. Shaq stands firmly on the side of old-school toughness, where greatness is defined by physical dominance, playing through pain, and winning championships as the clear leader. Durant, on the other hand, symbolizes the modern era, where skill, versatility, and precision are emphasized just as much as, if not more than, brute force. What started as a disagreement gradually evolved into an ongoing rivalry fueled by contrasting views on what truly defines greatness. The tension had been building for years, but in June 2017, Durant appeared to answer his critics in the biggest way possible. After Shaq had challenged him to win a championship before talking, Durant did exactly that, helping the Golden State Warriors defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals. Not only did he win his first title, but he also earned Finals MVP, seemingly validating his place among the elite. For a moment, it felt like Durant had silenced the criticism. However, instead of ending the debate, it simply added another layer to it, as questions about how he won those championships continued to follow him. That unresolved tension resurfaced again in January 2023 during a TNT broadcast. When Shaq admitted he didn't recognize Rui Hachimura, Durant quickly called him out online, questioning how a major analyst could be out of touch with current players. The comment struck a nerve, challenging Shaq's credibility. As expected, Shaq responded immediately, firing back with criticism of Durant's career decisions, his tendency to respond online, and his sensitivity to criticism. What followed was another round of public back and forth, highlighting how quickly their rivalry can reignite. Their feud has always followed a similar pattern, periods of silence followed by sudden flare-ups. The roots of this dynamic can be traced back to earlier moments, including the 2017 controversy involving JaVale McGee, where Durant defended his teammate against Shaq's on-air criticism. Since then, their exchanges have become a recurring storyline, often spilling onto social media and drawing in unexpected names, even outside basketball. At times, the arguments feel chaotic and unpredictable, but they consistently circle back to the same core issue: legacy. Another key flashpoint came in 2022, when Durant clashed with Draymond Green over comments about his role with the Warriors. Shaq sided with Green, reinforcing his long-standing bus driver versus bus rider argument. In Shaq's view, true greatness belongs to players who lead teams to championships, not those who join already successful systems. Durant pushed back, accusing Shaq and other former players of being bitter and unable to accept the modern era where players have more control over their careers. Despite the constant tension, the relationship isn't purely hostile. There have been moments of mutual respect that add complexity to their dynamic. For example, when Durant surpassed Shaq on the NBA's all-time scoring list in 2024, Shaq publicly congratulated him, though not without adding a subtle challenge to chase even greater milestones. Later that year, when Stephen A. Smith questioned Durant's leadership, Shaq surprisingly defended him, showing that, beneath the rivalry, there is still recognition of Durant's talent and impact. Ultimately, the ongoing back and forth between Shaq and Durant is driven by one central question: where does Durant rank in basketball history? Every jab, every debate, and every viral moment ties back to the GOAT conversation. For Shaq, greatness is rooted in dominance, leadership, and proving yourself as the unquestioned centerpiece of a championship team. For Durant, greatness includes skill, adaptability, and the freedom to define success on his own terms. This is why their rivalry continues to resonate. It's not just about two players exchanging words, it's
Without hurting people's feelings, people get sensitive. KD says the other day, his name should be discussed in the greatest of all time conversation. What has he not done? Agree or disagree?
So you got to be specific. You can't just say greatest of all.
No, the GOAT. Like they always talk about LeBron,
I think
Michael Jordan. I throw in Kobe. Some people don't. I threw in Steph Curry the other day. No, he's saying
The tension between Shaquille O'Neal and Kevin Durant has come to reprise. For Shaquille O'Neal, the GOAT conversation isn't wide open. It's more like an exclusive VIP room with only a handful of names allowed inside. At the very top sits Michael Jordan, with no real debate in Shaq's mind. Right alongside him is Kobe Bryant, especially given their history and the dominance Kobe showed throughout his career. LeBron James is also firmly in that conversation, simply because his resume, longevity, and production are impossible to ignore. And then there's Stephen Curry, who has earned his place by completely changing how basketball is played with his shooting and impact on the modern game.
on this for 7 foot 2 guard.
No. Is he one of the greatest of all time? Yes.
He's one of the greatest seven. We've never seen another KD before.
Should he be in that conversation?
And I think so. Kevin Durant is a transcendent talent, bro. Like we've never
seen it before.
We've never seen anybody like KD. And I said this the other day on the timing was bad when he went to Golden State. Right after losing to them, then going to them. I think any other year in his career he'd go there. It's not looked at as that particular thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a sensitive subject with people in basketball and basketball debates, but Kevin Durant is absolutely one of the best players that we've seen of all time.
Back then, stars played through injuries. No high-tech recovery gear, no private jets, no cryo chambers, just ice packs and grit. But then the convo shifted to Michael Jordan. LeBron and KD chuckled about the older era, even joking about MJ's baseball break in the 90s. To them, it seemed lighthearted, just two superstars laughing about history. But to Shaquille O'Neal, that laughter was disrespect, plain and simple. When clips from the episode hit social media, Shaq exploded online, calling them out for mocking the legends who paved the way. He said LeBron and KD didn't understand what those players endured. No private flights, no days off, just blood, sweat, and airports. He painted the picture clearly. Back then, stars flew commercial, played back-to-back games, and had to battle on hardwood that bruised your soul as much as your body. Then